Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. And it's been a big couple of years in the CDL for major personalities deciding to retire and move on from competitive Call of Duty. Karma back in the Modern Warfare days, FormaL at the end of Cold War, and we've seen even the likes of Crimsix potentially retiring right about now before Modern Warfare 2 even comes out. Scump has implied as well, and Hex has certainly indicated that Scump has agreed to play for one more season, and after that, things are certainly in question, and Scump may be planning to retire at the end of 2023. Very much into your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. I would greatly appreciate loads of great new support recently. Just to mention this as well, Don, he's at it again. The music video is officially live. These glasses go hard. He's on another level. And yeah, look at this guy, man. Just absolutely love to see it. Hopefully he walks out to this next time out. The music video is officially live now on Donny Temp's YouTube channel. Just to mention a few things before we talk about the Scump stuff. Just wanted to say, because I think a lot of these pros are trying to get back into playing Call of Duty, because I think a lot of them have taken some time off, chilled out for a little bit, and are now thinking, well, okay, maybe it's about time we actually get back competing. At least in something or other, right? Not necessarily in Modern Warfare 2 yet, although it's about maybe 7 weeks away from that game coming out, but also other potential off-season tournaments that might happen. So hopefully this stuff happens, because as Sasha says, haven't touched my controller in almost 2 months now. Where are the throwbacks? Need to start playing them again. So hopefully these arrive sooner rather than later. I'm sure Hitch has probably got some ideas that he's working on, but you know, he just needs the pros to actually agree to make the team. So I think that's Hitch's biggest issue, is that I'm sure he reaches out to the pros, tries to get them involved, and they don't respond. Like, I'm sure it's an absolute nightmare. So hopefully everything works out there and Hitch can put something together here, because there of course are many great old school games that hopefully the guys will play, and maybe not League of Legends, right, as Accuracy's gonna say here that Slasher is getting involved in right now. But that's the thing, I've seen players playing a lot of different things. I've seen Black Ops 4 Charles be played by Proloot and the like on stream. I've seen Black Ops 3 be started to be played again. Usually what happens is, for example, before World War 2 came out, we were going from jetpacks back to boots on the ground, and everyone pretty much went back to Ghosts and played Ghost Search and Destroy for the off-season, because that was kind of preparation for going back to boots on the ground. Now though, like, what do you want to play? Because you don't really want to play Modern Warfare 1, Modern Warfare 2019, to prepare for this year's title, because who really wants to play that game when you can play good games like Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4 or whatever? So that's probably what these guys will do. Black Ops 3 is so much fun. I was actually playing it only a few months ago on the PC. It's just such a good time. So hopefully we get some throwbacks on Black Ops 3. That would be absolutely fantastic. What a game. And then maybe the developers watching will actually take some hints for the future titles we have. And that's the thing, right, when we talk about this whole retirement discussion, is that you know, a big part of it, I think, is the drive and the competitive edge that these guys have, because the likes of FormaL, I think really he was just getting a bit fed up of the Call of Duty games at the end of the day, right? The new games weren't quite what the old games were, and he kind of, you know, wasn't really feeling it, wasn't necessarily putting the effort in. The team was probably going to drop him anyway, and then he decided just to retire and step away from COD. Then Halo Infinite comes out, and he starts to play that, and he's like, well, damn, actually, I do still have the competitive drive. I still do have the willingness to be the best on a game that I actually enjoy playing, and that's, you know, pretty much where he is now in the Halo side. So, like, I think these guys, the competitive drive doesn't just disappear. I think often it's like the game that can take a toll on these boys. Like, if we were still playing games like Black Ops 3 today, I feel like, you know, the likes of Karma might even still be around, but unfortunately he retired a couple of years ago during the Modern Warfare season. Who can really blame him? This also was kind of funny, and Envoy was trying to roast Slasher a bit, right, because of course we looked at this tweet where Slasher was like S&D specialist, and it was like, nah, you needed this game 5 versus Simp at the World Championship, so Enable and Slasher, of course, teammates on 100 Thieves. Black Ops 4 World Championship, they lost to Simp in the game 5. Slasher went like 2-9 or something, didn't have the greatest results, and Enable actually brings up the screenshot right here. Enable's 12-8, Slasher's like 2-8 in the final round, so wasn't looking so good for Slasher, and Enable's trying to throw one in. They got relatively close to winning the World Championship here, and as Slasher says, all I see on that screen is Simp and aBeZy excited for 2023, because of course they won it for United on the other side of the stage. But yeah, Slasher has definitely not stopped smiling since he got the first call from aBeZy or Crowder or whoever phoned him up and said, yes, we want you on that roster for next season. Let's discuss the OpTic side of things then, of course, because Scump's future has always been a big question. And in fairness, I feel like we've said I mean, how many years at this point have we said that Scump's got 2 to 3 more years left in his career, and then he's going to retire, and then, you know, he goes 2 or 3 more years, and then he keeps on going, right? So maybe it will come to an end at some point. But the big discussion has been lately, even from Guerrillas and Attach back in July, that like age is just overgassed, right? You know, the fact that he's 27 and like, you know, he can still compete on a high level, that's not exactly a surprise. It's more about it, you know, the drive and the willingness to actually compete and still put in the time and put in the practice into games that might not be as good now as they were in the past. That's really taken the toll. Scump doesn't fully agree with this assessment though. He actually reckons that as you get older, it takes a toll on your hands, and you actually do get kind of worse at the game because, you know, there no auto tack sprint and stuff like this, like, you know, just spamming button mashing the controller day in, day out. It doesn't exactly help, right? And Scump is like, well, look, I can maybe keep on going, but I thought thought the words from Hex were kind of interesting, right? As Hex does say here when he's like, you know, I'm glad you competed for one more year, decided to, like, I hope you reconsider at the end of this year, right? So, yeah, just the way that Hex stated this seems to me that Scump has effectively told Hex and the guys, like, yes, I'm playing for one more year, I'm committed to that, and then after this year, there's no guarantees. I might just decide to step away, and as Hex says, like, I hope you reconsider and stay competing after this season, which hopefully he does, of course, and I kind of feel like he still will, but it does depend how this season goes.
I'll tell you what, get a piece this year. We haven't had a chance, man. I'm really happy that you chose to stay competing for one more year. I hope that you reconsider at the end of this year, and then you could. I want to see you play until you're. I want to see both of you play until you're as old as Nick. How old are you?
31.
31. So how old are you? 27.
I'll be 27.
So 4 more years.
I'll be 27 throughout the whole year.
Once you hit 27, though, you lose pretty much everything.
Well, I'll be 28 at the end of the
year.
For you. Wait, what'd you say?
Once you're 27, it's all downhill and you lose everything.
Davis tweeted out some fugazi.
What did he do? I mean,
he said age has nothing to do with... Dude, when you've been playing for 13 years, you don't think your hands start to be different?
You lose your focus, lose your drive.
You don't think your hands start to stiffen up a little bit? See, Davis did some fugazi.
No, it wasn't that fugazi. I saw it.
So you don't think after 13 years of playing, like...
I didn't say it has nothing to do with it, but people, for some reason in Call of Duty, people think once you turn 26, you got to retire.
You don't have to retire, but...
That's what people think. That's what people think. It's like...
That's not what people think.
Okay, go on.
Right? And so, like... So when you see in other esports or even in sports, people are like look at like
F1 drivers.
Well, they also have access to.
You're gonna tell me their reaction time is bad? They're like, what's the average age of an F1 driver?
Well, the reason I tweeted that is because a
physical therapist,
a 30-year-old just won a Melee tournament, and Melee.
Shout out Mango.
If you watch their hands, I mean, it's like this. Yeah. That's how they move. It's like a claw.
What does that say? The average age of an F1 driver. Think about an F1 driver. Do you think the reaction time is bad? Are you kidding me?
All I was saying is that
well, I don't think it's reaction time though.
All I was saying is that a majority of the time it doesn't have to do.
I think it's wear and tear. I think on hands.
I think a majority of the time it has to do with other things besides physical, like your hand.
Saying it's like passion thing.
Yeah, it's a passion. I think it's a passion thing more than anything.
This was the tweet as well that Scump was referencing here for Hitch. Hot take, age doesn't matter in esports nearly as much as people think. Mango just won a super major at 30, and Melee is infinitely harder on your hands than shooters are. It's a lack of drive and motivation that play a bigger factor than anything in esports retirement, right? I think this is kind of fair enough. Even FormaL was talking about Formula 1 drivers, right? The fact that, I don't know exactly what the average age is, but, Fernando Alonso is going on 41 and still one of the best drivers on the grid. And Lewis Hamilton's not far behind at 37, right? And still very competitive. So that's the thing. These guys, they still competed for a long time. The reaction time is still certainly there for these guys, but it's maybe other factors that Scump reckons that are really in play here rather than just purely from an age perspective. But I really think for some of these guys, it's more about how competitive are they, how much do they really enjoy it anymore, and if they stepped away, how much would they actually miss it and want to return? Because I think Scump has said that when he does retire, he will intend effectively to, that's it for him from competing, right? He just wants to, play stuff casually and not even play Warzone tourneys and stuff. I'm pretty sure he said that in an interview with Hex a while ago. So if that's really the case, Scump wants to just leave it all out there, right? All his competitive drive and intention and motivation has got to be gone by the time he retires, which I don't think will really happen anytime soon. But I do wonder going into this offseason whether that consideration was already being had, because there were some rumors going around that iLLeY was going to get benched from this team and he was going to be part of the coaching staff for the roster, or effectively be a substitute, but be involved in the team to at least some degree and be on the coaching staff and stuff like this and help them out and stuff, kind of what he was doing in the latter half of last season when he wasn't playing at least, and take a year out to make sure his thumb can heal. And then I was wondering whether, because there were the rumors that they wanted to bring Hydra in, right, and maybe put Scump to the flex, and if that was to happen, then maybe Dashy wasn't the best main AR because he wasn't really a leadership main AR. They might need an AR with some more leadership capabilities. They could have got Arcitys maybe if things worked out slightly differently after FaZe made the decision to drop him. But that would have been really interesting. But there were some rumors that Scump was going to decide to go to the flex position and then maybe have a new AR or keep keep Dashy, and then have Hydra and Shotzzy as the SMG duo, and then maybe the intention would have been there, at least this was the discussion, that maybe iLLeY would be on the bench for a season and then would come back into the team in the flex role when Scump retired, which I mean, maybe that's a consideration. Obviously, as it's turned out, Scump is still going to be an SMG, but I do wonder if that went through his head that, like, okay, maybe I'll become a flex for a year, because I really do want to see Scump on a flex, right? I don't want to see him do an SMG for a year and retire. I want to see how long he can maybe, like, extend his career, maybe going to a flex, because you see many players, when they get to the end of their careers, generally, they tend to move into the slightly slower roles, the flex, the AR positions, and Scump can, like, we saw what he did on the Garutu this year with the AR, right, with the auto, like, he was an absolute dominant force, so I do want to see Scump in that role, and maybe it happens even this season if things go wrong for this OpTic team, but I would like to see him at some point give the flex position a go. I think it probably would be slightly less taxing on his hands, right, and we see this for many players that have even said this. We've seen the Zoomers, we've seen of course, even Alex with his thumb injuries back in Modern Warfare. The iLLeY thing, of course, was a major discussion of this past season. Even Sib tweeted this out shortly after the World Championship, saying that with his carpal tunnel and tendonitis, should I really be picking up the controller, right? And we saw when he did the kind of 1v1 against Aiden that he was like, yeah, I haven't picked up a controller in weeks, because we didn't say exactly because he deleted this tweet, but like maybe because like his hands have been taking a toll on him. So that's the thing. I'm sure Scump's got his, like, he's got his stretches, he's got his like things, he's got his physio, right, to make sure his hands and his wrist and his thumbs are all good to go and still okay, but it is still a bit of a concern, right? And Scump says it's kind of taken a toll on him. His hands certainly aren't the same now as they used to be a few years ago. So what does this mean for Scump's career? Has he said to Hex and the team that he's going to compete for one more year and that's it? Like, or, because like, it's a difficult one for Scump. If this year goes quite well, will that mean he retires, or will that mean he stays? Because I think that as long as Scump knows that he's still got it in him to be one of the top players in the league, he's going to keep going. If he doesn't feel that anymore, either he tries to get back to that point by going to a flex, or he decides to call it a day. He also doesn't want to go out on a bad year. It's very rare, in fairness, that a player can actually go out on a good year, because most players tend to run the course of their careers, and then, you know, even Crimsix and Clayster, right, these guys aren't exactly, if Crim retires now, he's gone out on a decent year, but not exactly a spectacular year. And we've seen, you know, other players, like, it's very rare that you find players that actually retire on a high, even like the likes of Swanee, maybe, I was thinking, because back in the Black Ops 3 days, he had good success on that Millennium team at the time. He couldn't attend the World Championship because of some personal stuff, but he retired after that season, having won like, what, 2 or 3 events that year for Millennium, so that was a pretty good finishing season for Swanee. But it's kind of rare you see that for other players, and I think Scump said that he wants to go out on a decent year, right? He wants to go out after a point where, like, he's had a solid year, maybe won something and looked okay, and doesn't want to go out on a complete downer. And that's the thing, like, who knows what happens, right? But Modern Warfare 2 comes for 1 year, maybe it's a good game, Scump enjoys it, and then he thinks, you know what, maybe I'll do the second year. And the thing is, after you've done it for a second year, then you've got another tryout game coming out. It's like, well, damn, can I really retire before a tryout game? So, like, I'm sure the question will go around Scump's head. Hopefully he stays around for 2-3 more years. Like, I can see, like, that he's definitely considering his options after this season, and has maybe told the team that only 1 more year is the plan. But of course, all can change depending on what happens. If the team needs to change, if the roles need to change, or whatever the case might be. If Scump still has the drive at the end of this year and actually enjoyed the game more than he expected to, and maybe some old school maps are coming back for the second year of the title, and Hex is trying to convince him to stay, then, you know, maybe he stays around, right? We'll see. It's going to be Scump's call at the end of the day. But the other thing to mention, of course, is that in the last 4 years, I suppose, Modern Warfare 1, Karma retired. After Cold War, it was FormaL that retired. We may be seeing Crimsix retire after Vanguard, and then, of course, it would complete the set of 4 of the Dynasty members in 4 years if Scump was to retire after this season. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I'm just showing that the pattern might indeed, unfortunately, be there. So definitely tweet your thoughts on this in the comment section below. How long do you reckon will Scump stay competing? Will it just be this season? Will it be future seasons? I want to see him compete at least 2 more years and have like an entire season on the flex position. I would really like to see that and see what Scump can deliver in that particular role. And that's the thing with even Crimsix, right? This is his LAN card, 77 overall. Same number, actually, I'm pretty sure, as his overall card for the season. Not the greatest numbers, not Crim's greatest year, but he did at least win the Prime Classic this season, made the Grand Finals, had a good Cinderella story. No guarantees as it stands that Crim will even be in the league next year, right? If he doesn't get a starting spot, is he going to sit on the bench somewhere? Is he really going to grind through challenges? That seems unlikely. So I think Crim, you know, might be in a spot where he has to step away from COD, right? And of course, Scump's never going to be in that position because he's always got the OpTic thing, and he's always probably going to be good enough to still compete at that highest level, I think, given how naturally gifted he is. But you know, maybe it's sooner rather than later where Scump also steps away, which of course will be a sad day when it comes, but hopefully no sooner than 1 year away that he is currently indicating, and with any luck, a fair bit longer than that. And just to mention this as we close out, that was pretty funny. Drazah goes to the kind of fairground or whatever, and is absolutely challenging these fools at whack-a-mole, and Drazah's absolutely cracked, and he actually wins the prize at the end of the day. So congrats, congratulations to the boys. Thought this is pretty funny. Very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit on the like button, tell us YouTube gods, this is a good video, others like you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care, and I'll see you next time.